Okay, today is Friday. Let's move away from trading and kind of talk to you about kind of a movie review. Now, this is called Ghost Exchange. It's one of those, if you trade or you enjoy trading, you definitely want to watch this. This is on Amazon. Let's listen to this. I'm going to talk to you about something that's really significant to the average trader. Now, we all know, let me kind of put a pause here. We all know that the big firms, they have massive amounts of money. They have all this technology, and technology isn't bad. I mean, here I am. You're watching a YouTube video that I'm producing on an iPhone, and you're seeing multiple monitors. So I'm not against technology. I want to talk to you about an advantage that some of these algorithms or these high frequency trading and how that affects the regular guy. Now, Ghost Exchange is a documentary. It's full of really intelligent people. So let's take a look. I'll show you something. This is a really, really important point. We're kind of talking about what an algorithm is.
In a way that generates maximum profit for the trader.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with profit.
All this is done in the time it takes a human to
high frequency trading.
There's an old saying, the United States Senator, he said, if it looks like a duck, it
Watch
walks like
this.
a duck, and talks like a duck, it's a duck. These things look awful lot like gambles. This looks
Now, I
very
don't
much
really
like
agree with
casino.
that. Just because you're trading does not mean it's gambling.
Trading,
It's
thousands of
only
trades
like
in a second.
Vegas whenever one side of the table has an
90%
advantage that the other side doesn't. And that's what I want to talk to you about.
90%,
Listen to this next guy.
Sounds like a casino to me.
They're talking about how 90% of algorithm trading is withdrawn. So
The vernacular
listen to this.
of
This is the
modern
part I want to
financial
talk about.
markets itself sounds like a sinister science fiction landscape.
Algorithmic trading, dark pools, and tick sizes. Now, let's
Here we
start
go.
with tick sizes. A tick size is the smallest increment in which a stock trades. We used to trade stocks in quarter-point increments, and now we trade them in pennies or tenths of pennies or hundredths of pennies.
Oh, did you hear that?
And when you increase the level of complexity in trading by proliferating the number...
This guy right here, David Wilde. Excuse me if I mispronounced your name. What he's talking about is how tick sizes, we used to go from, a stock that's 1401 to 1402, 1403, to breaking that up to like where a major firm could trade 1 million shares at 0.005, okay? Now just keep in mind that on this TD Ameritrade, this regular guy's account, I can only trade at, this is a stock Chesapeake Energy, I can only trade this at 372, 373, 374. That's how you and I trade. But these high frequency traders, let's take a look at that again. I'll show you something. Watch it.
On Google, these programs send out orders of
all of a sudden creates an avalanche of interest in algorithmic and computerized trading to contend with the complexity.
Today, it's estimated
Now,
that between
kind of go back to that
50 and
point here. Watch this.
Trade stocks in quarter-point increments, and now we trade them in pennies or tenths of pennies or hundredths of pennies. And when you increase the level of complexity in trading by proliferating the number of price points, you go from 4 to $1 down to, as many as 1,000 to $1. The only way you can manage that level of complexity is through computers, and that all of a sudden creates an avalanche of interest in algorithmic and computerized trading to contend with the complexity.
Now, that's the point I want to talk about is, we could talk about complexity, but I want to go a little step further and say when the regular guy has to trade in ticks, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, but an algorithm can push 1 million shares and essentially buy and make 0.005 or 0.008 or 0.0. What they're doing, what these algorithms are doing, is they're buying literally within the cent, and they're pushing millions of shares. And so that's where I think it goes from complexity to just unfair. Because if one side, if the regular guys like you and I have to trade in cent variables, but the high frequency traders can use an algorithm that can push, and I mean, they could push 2 or 3 million shares and make 0.005 on that trade. That's something you and I can't do. And so that's where I think that the high frequency traders really have an ethics issue. And, I really want to recommend that you watch the Ghost Exchange because there is a lot at stake, and there is when we understand that technology has a downside, and we have to look at the ethics of technology. And this is just one example of like, hey, if you want to make it real simple, prevent algorithms from trading in a tenth of a cent or a 20th of a cent. And another suggestion is go watch the movie The Big Short. And there's a big theme in there, and it says whenever we raise the complexity of a market, we are exacerbating a negative event. And so go watch The Big Short, or pick up the Ghost Exchange. And again, I'm not against technology. I'm against the complexity that technology is bringing to the market. Because hey, if I have to trade in regular cent variables, why does an algorithm? Why can they trade it and make millions of dollars on 0.005? They don't even have to be accurate traders. They just have to be fast. And so for me, I have to be accurate. And today, this was a really important issue to me, because if you look at this point here, this low of the day, and I kind of ran into so this is 371, this down, this bottom here is 370. So an algorithm doesn't have to wait for it to go here. They could literally buy in the ether and then sell here. And that's where I think we're moving from complexity good to complexity bad. Anyway, go pick up Ghost Exchange. Have a great weekend. If you have any questions on day trading, I'd love to help you. Americano417@gmail.com. If you have any movie recommendations for me, I would love to watch them. I'm always watching a documentary, but this is a really good one. And I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you don't even have to be a good trader. I mean, you could buy 1 million shares here and sell 1 million here. Now that's not the good type of complexity. Again, have a great weekend. Americano417@gmail.com. I'm Jonathan. Have a great weekend.